Hello everyone, and welcome back to Rebooted MCU. Today we are here with the finale of Phase 7 of Rebooted MCU, which covers the 10th and last project of this phase. It's been a journey, but hey, we are finally here at the end of Phase 7. Big things are coming up, but before we get to those big things, we gotta finish off with a bang, so let's get to that right now. Phase 7 Part 10 is the Young Avengers, and it takes place in Universe 2034. The project opens up on the planet of Rias, home to the Druffs, as we see dead corpses lining the streets. As we get a better look at the carnage, we see a lone cloaked being walking along the now barren streets, approaching a building with illegible alien text above it. As it opens the door, we see two Druffs tell the being to leave immediately, but as they get up to stop the being, they both quickly fall dead, as we suddenly see a cage filled with a group of Skrulls, who look at the being in fear. We watch as a being rips open the cage and commands the Skrulls to exit. As the newly freed Skrulls comply, one of them asks for the name of the being who saved them, prompting the being to drop his cloak and reveal himself as a young Skrull. The young Skrull tells the group that they have now joined the forces of the new Skrull Empire, and will be forces in Troop 1, joining in the group's mission to carry on the legacy of their ancestors by cementing themselves as the rulers of the galaxy. The Skrull then finally introduces himself, Commander Trell, played by Tanner Buchanan, the leader of the new Skrull Empire and the son of Lyja, and coincidentally, the young Skrull sent away by his mother at the start of the coming of Galactus. And as the newly freed Skrulls shout in admiration of their savior, the title card appears. We cut inside the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles as we see Harlan Kruger, aka Hangman, played by Lucas Gage, enter into a back room of the museum as he picks up a pike, which was used in the Battle of Pinda as part of the Roman phalanx. As he admires the weapon, we watch as White Vision, played by Paul Bettany, phases into the room, noting that Hangman is a notorious weapons fanatic who loves to steal ancient weapons and use them in his crimes. Hangman throws a smoke bomb on the ground and races out of the building as White Vision communicates the situation to Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld, who sits in a car outside the building. As Hangman jumps into his car and takes off, we see Kate call for the new West Coast Avengers to track him, as we see Cassie Lang, aka Stinger, played by Una O'Brien, slam on the gas and follow the car, as Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne, flying along inside her Iron Man-like armor she is given the name Ironheart. Riri communicates with the AI created for her by Xavier King, played by Jacob Gibson, named Not Tony, voiced by Scott Adsit. While Not Tony is the main source of help when Riri uses her Ironheart armor, Xavier is also on standby in case she needs help troubleshooting anything. After the group chases Hangman for a bit, we watch as Kate hops into the driver's seat, before shooting an arrow at Hangman that rips through the car's back window that turns out to have Cassie Lang sitting on top in a shrunken state. Turning normal size, she kicks Hangman in the face, knocking him out, while Ironheart lands in front of the vehicle, stopping it before it can cause any harm to civilians. As White Vision reunites with the group, minutes later we watch as the LAPD take away Hangman and commend the West Coast Avengers for their help. As Kate commends the group for their efforts as well, they are interrupted by S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Maria Hill, played by Colby Smulders, and S.W.O.R.D. Director Abigail Brand, played by Amelia Clark, who invite the group to the S.W.O.R.D. building as they need to discuss something important. Inside the S.W.O.R.D. meeting room hours later, we see Kate, White Vision, Riri, Cassie, Hill, and Brand sitting at a large table along with S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Ava Starr, played by Hannah John Kamen, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Daisy Johnson, played by Chloe Bennett, and Vince Peretta, played by Paul Schneider. Peretta was recruited by Brand following his work with Wonder Man to join S.W.O.R.D. and now serves as their head of scientific innovation. Hill commends the four heroes for their hard work and recounts some of their greatest accomplishments. Kate managing to single-handedly bring down Tigro when the West Coast Avengers fought Graviton, Riri aiding War Machine in bringing down the Controller before he unleashed devastation with the Iron Legion, and the Four's combined effort in bringing down the Zodiac, a terrorist group that had been causing trouble in the Los Angeles area. Kate thanks Hill for the compliment but asks why the group was brought here. Brand notes that there was a recent break-in attempt at the S.H.I.E.L.D. facility in New York City that was thwarted by the efforts of Agents Starr and Johnson. But what was concerning was the material that was at issue. Peretta stands, revealing that the group who sought to break into the facility were after neutronium, an extremely rare material that was last used during the attempted Skrull invasion years ago that was ended thanks to Captain Marvel and the Blue Marvel. Peretta explains that not only could neutronium destroy the planet if it was hypercharged with energy, but the only method to destroy it is with antimatter, a substance only seen once before. Hill explains that S.H.I.E.L.D. confiscated a small bit of neutronium discovered after the Skrull attack and has kept it locked away since, but now that someone has made an attempt to steal the material, Hill believes that they need reinforcements. Hill explains that she has been recruiting young heroes from across the globe to help with this effort, and in exchange for their services guarding the neutronium, S.H.I.E.L.D. and S.W.O.R.D. agree to help the group fund their future operations. Kate agrees to the terms, while Cassie asks if she can invite a new friend to join in the effort, something Hill agrees with. After Brand explains the group's travel plans, we see the three heroes depart from the room, while Vision flies up to Hill and asks what she is planning. Hill looks confused before Vision points out that Hill was holding Nick Fury's old Avengers Initiative folder in her lap during the entire presentation. Hill says nothing but smiles and walks away, telling Vision that she will see him in New York. We abruptly cut to the Kree homeworld of Hala a few days later inside the Grand Hall, home to King Ronan, played by Lee Pace, who sits and reviews documents handed to him by his royal assistant Shandar, played by Eve Harlow. The documents handed to Ronan outline the massive improvements made to Kree society since he has taken over as their king. The economy has hit an all-time high, the percentage of Kree who suffer from hunger has dropped to 2%, and the Kree have entered into a grand period of peace despite the Kree-Skrull War technically never being put to an end. Shandar praises Ronan for his leadership, while Ronan scoffs at the praise, saying he once called a man who deprived he and his siblings of love, affection, and resources father, and he could not live with himself if innocent people had to suffer from the same ailments under his leadership. As Shandar smiles at Ronan, we watch as Kree General Bo Sung Stugbar, played by Newman Akar, bursts into the room and reports that a mysterious ship has landed on Hala, and the inhabitants have begun attacking civilians. Ronan stands, commanding Bo Sun to unleash the army, which prompts Bo Sun to make a startling revelation, that the inhabitants of the ships are Skrulls, but worse, they have managed to learn how to shapeshift into the form of Kree civilians. Outside watches Skrulls exit numerous ships and begin transforming into Kree, wrecking Hala and causing mayhem across town. On the main ship, the leader of Troop 2, Srav, played by Jamie Campbell Bower, sits and commands the Skrulls to cause havoc and recover the ancient weapon from the Kree. Cutting to the planet of Skrullos, the homeworld of the Skrulls, we watch as King Doric, aka Hulkling, played by Nicholas Hamilton, sits on his throne as Dazan, played by Jeremy Swift, rushes into the throne room and informs Hulkling of a distress signal sent out by the Kree, warning that a group of Skrull have attacked their planet. Hulkling demands to know who is leading the attack, but Dazan informs Hulkling that he has no information on the perpetrator of the attack. We watch as Hulkling stands and commands Dazan to ready his ship, as he will go and deal with the situation personally. We then cut inside the S.H.I.E.L.D. building in New York as Kate, Cassie, Riri, and White Vision stand inside the hallway while they wait for the other members of their team to arrive. Cassie expresses her excitement, wondering what their new friends will be like, while Riri cautions Cassie on getting too excited, as they have no idea what to expect. Suddenly we watch as Agent Johnson enter into the room with Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, played by Iman Vellani, introducing her to the group as a good friend who she got to know during a trip to the moon. Before Johnson can explain more, Kamala begins fangirling over Kate and Riri, talking about how cool it is to be in the presence of the girl who was trained by Hawkeye and the girl who made her own Iron Man suit. In the midst of Kamala's fangirling, we watch as a portal opens inside the room as Wong, played by Benedict Wong, and AC, played by Jyoti Gomez, exit, prompting Cassie to run and greet the duo, asking AC if she managed to listen to the playlist she made for her during her last trip to Kamar Taj. AC smiles awkwardly, admitting that Cassie's playlist had over 500 songs on it, so she didn't manage to listen to it all. We then watch as Peretta enters the room with Billy Maximoff, aka Wiccan, played by Joe Locke, and Tommy Maximoff, aka Speed, played by Jacob Tremblay. Peretta tells the duo that this will be a good opportunity to be with young adults their own age, which Billy agrees with, saying that the passing of his grandfather has been tough on his mother, even though he and Tommy never really got to know him that well. Tommy rolls his eyes, saying that as long as he can pick up chicks during this ordeal, he really doesn't care what happens. As the various characters stand around talking, we watch as Maria Hill enters the hallway along with Eli Bradley, aka Patriot, played by Caleb McLaughlin. who holds his grandfather's shield and looks at the rest of the group with a defiant look in his eye. Hill tells the group that the new recruits will meet each other and will remain on guard of the building for the time being. All the details of standing guard and the tasks of each person will be decided by the group, as everyone else is instructed to leave. As we watch Daisy, Vince, Wong, and Hill exit the hallway, we watch the mysterious figure shifts from the opposite end of the hallway and exits the building. A few minutes later, we watch the mysterious figure walk into a junkyard and enter a tiny makeshift hut filled with a group of Skrulls and the leader of Troop 3, Obulete Midas, aka the Exterminatrix, played by Anaya Pandey. The mysterious figure is revealed to be the Skrull Knurr, played by Angus McFadden, who updates the group on his discovery and surmises that now is the perfect time to capture the Neutronium. Knurr was among the Skrulls who were a part of Lysia's forces during the assault on Earth that took place during the events of the coming of Galactus. After facing total defeat, Knurr and a small group of Skrulls decided to retreat to avoid being slain in battle, but during their retreat they discovered Midas, whose parents had both died during the conflict. Noticing that Midas was in a state of shock and emotional distress, Knurr and his small group of Skrulls decided to promise Midas that they would shapeshift to look like her deceased parents if she agreed to give them a place to stay. The emotionally broken Midas agreed and housed the abandoned Skrulls for the time being. When Trell got word of Knurr and his group's desertion, he was furious, saying that none of them would be worthy of leading his scout and recon group. However, Trell wanted to see how far the manipulation could go, and informed the Skrulls that if they managed to genetically enhance Midas to be superior to a normal human, he would overlook their transgressions. Knurr, a scientist by trade, enhanced Midas's blood to make her immune to all toxins and gases, and along with the other Skrulls would force her into advanced combat every day to hone her skills. Eventually growing so strong that even Trell couldn't deny her ability, she was named the leader of Troop 3 and would begin operating under the alias of Exterminatrix. The Exterminatrix would make a name for herself by stealing dangerous chemicals in order to increase her already impressive immunity, and through this she would hone her combat skills by going up against impressive fighters such as Daredevil, the Iron Fist, the White Tiger, and even a run-in with Spider-Woman. Exterminatrix leans forward and tells the Skrulls that they will strike tonight, saying that their sole goal right now is to complete the big task assigned to them by Trell, creating a homing beacon using the Neutronium to allow Trell and his forces to quickly travel to Earth. We cut back inside the SHIELD building as we see the group of young heroes sitting around each other while Vision leans against the wall. Observing the group, Kate brings up that she feels it would be best if she were to divide everyone's roles to make guarding the Neutronium both efficient and effective. An idea that Eli scoffs at, asking Kate who put her in charge of the group. Cassie tells Eli that Kate has the most leadership experience of everyone in the group, while Eli retorts that he is the most mature, since he lost both his parents at a young age. He had to grow up faster than many of his peers, something that catches the attention of AC. Billy surmises that the best course of action would be for the group to vote on their leader, prompting both Cassie and Riri to vote for Kate, while in a surprising move, AC backs Eli. Cassie asks AC why she isn't backing her friend, prompting AC to say that friendship will not sway her support, as Kamala joins Kate's side, saying that she has followed Kate's exploits and that her resume is more impressive. Billy asks Tommy what he thinks, prompting Tommy to respond that he doesn't care since he hates authority, but that he would be inclined to follow Eli. Billy sits in silence before saying that he respects both Kate and Eli and does not want to make enemies with either, so his moral code will force him to remain neutral in the vote. With a palpable tension in the air, Kate and Eli both agree that their groups will work separately as we see Eli, AC, and Tommy walk down the right side of the hallway, while Kate, Cassie, Riri, and Kamala walk down the left, as Billy remains sitting in the middle of the hallway on his own. Vision shakes his head as he phases out of the room in search of Hill. After wandering around the building for a bit, Vision finally stumbles into a security room where he finds Hill monitoring the heroes, as we see Kate instructing her group where to go while Eli does the same. Vision tells Hill that he does not believe that Hill simply brought all these young heroes here as a matter of security, something Hill acknowledges. Hill explains to Vision that when Nick Fury formed the Avengers, it was a group of unlikely heroes, people who found their way into powers through sheer luck, skill, or innovation, but their circumstances forced them to become heroes, not necessarily because of their desire to do good. While the Avengers would eventually go on to become true heroes, that process was long and arduous, with many hiccups along the way. Vision asks Hill to make her point, prompting Hill to respond that the incident with Galactus and even the attack on Canada that happened recently has made it more evident than ever that there needs to be a group of heroes ready to protect Earth. And while the Avengers will always assemble when the Earth needs it, they are made up of parts scattered across the universe. However, through meeting Eli and hearing stories from her other colleagues, Hill realized that a group of young heroes exist, who didn't become heroes out of coincidence, but chose to become heroes because of what they saw the Avengers do. Hill believes that it is her duty to cultivate the next generation, like Fury did before, and create a new team of young heroes who will protect Earth for years to come. Vision sits in silent contemplation as suddenly the lights cut off inside the S.H.I.E.L.D. building. The scene then cuts back and forth between the various young heroes running back and forth inside the building, and Hala, where we see Ronan fighting against Srav. In the midst of the chaos on Earth, we watch as AC's eyes begin to glow a bright blue, and she grabs her head in fear. Tommy asks AC if she is okay, prompting AC to run inside the women's restroom and drop to her knees, begging for something not to happen again. On Hala, Srav's impressive strength is able to match that of Ronan, who has grown weak during the years he has spent working as king and lacking a purpose for training. Srav demands that Ronan reveal the location of the ancient Kree weapon known as the Negabands. Ronan laughs, telling Srav that he would rather die than reveal the location of the ancient weapon. Srav tells Ronan to suit himself, preparing to land a finishing blow on Ronan when he is suddenly stopped by the arrival of Hulkling, who grabs Srav's arm and throws him across the battlefield. Ronan inquires as to what the King of the Skrulls is doing on Hala, prompting Hulkling to respond that he came to stop the thugs who sought to create more division with the Kree. Back in the S.H.I.E.L.D. building, we watch as Kate, Cassie, Riri, Kamala, and Billy all stand around trying to figure out what is going on, when they are suddenly interrupted by 5 mysterious figures walking towards them, who turn out to be Doctor Strange, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and a mysterious woman leading the group. While the 5 heroes stand in shock of the heroes before them, something appears to be off, as their costumes do not resemble anything that the group has seen before, and even their faces appear to be plastic, looking like a replica of the original. The lady leading the group introduces herself as S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Midas, Maria Hill's assistant, who tells the group that due to the power outage going on, Hill contacted her and the Avengers to gather neutronium for transport to a more secure location while the security systems are being restarted. The group stand by and let the group enter the facility where the neutronium is being stored, all seemingly on edge about the situation. As the group exits the room with the neutronium in hand, Eli returns to the central hallway, spots the group, and lunges at Cap, using his shield to impale his chest. Kate screams at Eli, demanding for him to tell her why he would attack Captain America, prompting Eli to respond that they have been tricked, as the man before him resembles Steve Rogers, the man who no longer holds the title of Captain America. We then watch as Captain America turns back into a Skrull, shocking the heroes as the other heroes quickly begin reverting back into Skrulls as well and attack the group. The group's inexperience working together causes their counterattack to be very ineffective, with powerhouses such as Wiccan being incapacitated by the Exterminatrix using her pressure point technique. As we slowly watch the heroes struggle at the hands of the Skrulls and the Exterminatrix, we watch as Kate smashes Knurr with her bow, who turns and smiles, saying that he recognizes Kate from the papers. As he says this, we watch as he transforms his face to look exactly like Clint Barton, causing Kate to stand still in utter shock of seeing her mentor's face. Knurr, acting as Clint, tells Kate how proud he is of her growth as a leader, prompting Kate to break down in tears, telling Clint how much she misses him. This gives Knurr an opening to land a massive blow on Kate, but as he swings, we watch as Eli jumps in front of Kate, using his shield to protect her. Eli tells Kate to get it together as the Exterminatrix tells the group that they have acquired all they need and no longer have time for petty games. The Skrulls put on gas masks as Exterminatrix releases a small container of fast-acting sleeping gas, which knocks out the heroes in a matter of seconds. As Exterminatrix and her group attempt to exit the building, we watch as they are stopped by Hill and Vision, who attempt to fight back against the Skrulls, prompting Knurr to tell the duo that he will not allow anyone to stand in their way any longer. Lunging at Hill, he lands a punch that sails through her stomach, as we watch blood gush from Hill's body. White Vision stands in a state of confusion, with his programming unable to make a decision about what to do: stop the enemy or attempt to help his deceased colleague. This allows Exterminatrix and her group to exit the building, and in the dead of night, Exterminatrix sends a message to Trell, telling him that the neutronium beacon will be completed in a matter of hours and their mission will finally begin. While one group's emotions are excitement, the other is despair. As the heroes awaken from the sleeping gas, they are presented with the harsh reality of the death of S.H.I.E.L.D. director Maria Hill. We cut to a few hours later around 1:30 a.m. in the morning as we see interim emergency S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Johnson and Agent Starr dealing with the death of Hill and the stolen neutronium. Inside a conference room in the S.H.I.E.L.D. building, we watch as Vision plays a recording of Hill's conversation to the young heroes, revealing to them why Hill decided to bring them all together and encourages the group to work through their differences and figure out the best path forward. Considering that a conspiracy involving Skrulls has been revealed. As Vision exits, Kate apologizes to the group for how she handled both the leader selection process and for how she froze when the Skrull changed their face to look like Clint's. Revealing that she has been suffering from depression since Clint's death and has been using her role in the West Coast Avengers as an escape. Kate tells the group that everyone in her life has been taken from her. Her father by the 10 rings, her mother through her connection to Fisk, and Hawkeye through his battle with Wanda. Billy and Tommy shudder at this comment as Kate laments on the fact that fighting crime is her only escape, as when she sits at home or tries to sleep, she is overcome with nothing but intense loneliness. Eli places his hand on her shoulder and apologizes for how he acted, saying that he made his life experience out to be more important than hers, and says that based on what he can tell, everyone in the room has gone through something tragic. But now, they have a chance to work together, to not only protect innocent people, but also to overcome the obstacles life has thrown their way. As Kate and Eli hug, Kamala interrupts the group, saying if they were really trained by the Avengers themselves, they need to prepare for what might be done with the neutronium. Sharing her experience with the Skrulls and the homing beacon used during Captain Marvel's secret invasion. We watch as the group quickly begins talking and strategizing with one another as Vision sits outside listening. We cut inside a large ship mere minutes later to see Commander Trell telling the Skrulls of Troop 1 that their time has come. Trell reveals that he decided to call the various groups in his operation a troop because they are all performers. Performers in the final and greatest act of his mother, fulfilling the wishes of both Elijah and Kalert, to show the universe the power of the Skrulls by destroying Earth, Hala, and any other planet or group that has been allies with Captain Marvel or the Kree. And as we cut away, we see that Trell commands a fleet of over 100 small ships, consisting of the remnants of the Skrulls who followed Kalert and those who deserted Anel during her rule. On Hala, we watch as Ronan helps Kree civilians escape from the Skrull attack while Hulkling fights against Srav. Srav reveals that he and Commander Trell trained against each other since they were kids, and because of this, he has built up incredible durability. Ronan interrupts the fight, landing a massive blow on Srav before he promptly asks him why exactly he was inquiring about the negabands. Srav laughs, saying that Commander Trell requires weapons of considerable power if he is to accomplish his mission of destroying Earth and Hala, saying it would be fitting if Hala was destroyed by the very ancient weapon that was their most prized possession. Hulkling asks Srav why he and his group of Skrulls are doing this, reminding him that Kalert tried something similar years ago and failed miserably, causing Srav to laugh, saying that this mission is more fleshed out than before, and while Kalert might have had substantial power, Elijah ensured that the most powerful Skrull would carry out their purpose in the event she died, that Skrull being Trell. Hulkling looks concerned as he tells Srav that he needs to end this fight quickly so he can set his sights on stopping Trell as he leaps at Srav. We cut to around 6 a.m. in downtown New York as we see the Skrulls of Troop 3 quickly assembling the homing beacon atop Central Park Tower, while Exterminatrix, Kanura, and the other Skrulls wait at the bottom of the building. We then watch as Exterminatrix speaks into a communication device and tells the Skrulls to activate the beacon, and as they do, we cut to see Troop 1 in space as they quickly start sending down groups of hundreds at a time to attack New York. As both Hulkling and Ronan battle against Swav, we watch as several members of Troop 2 jump into their spacecraft and slowly join the homing beacon's pool, as Srav boastfully laughs that the day of the big show has finally gone off without fail. Hulkling curses as we slowly watch the fleet arrive in downtown New York, with Skrull soldiers attacking buildings, scaring civilians, and causing havoc throughout the city. As there appears to be no hope of stopping the threat, we watch as suddenly a lone arrow flies at one of the massive Skrulls, electrocuting it before it manages to kill a civilian. The civilian looks to see Kate Bishop, Wiccan, Speed, Stinger, and Miss Marvel running towards the Skrulls. Kate speaks into an earpiece, telling Patriot that they are making their way towards the threat. We then cut to the roof of the Central Park Tower as we see that the Skrulls who activated the homing beacon have been defeated, as Patriot, AC, and Ironheart look at the device, Patriot tells Kate that he and AC will watch Riri's back while she deactivates the device, while Kate's group helps neutralize the threat on the ground. Kate nods as we watch her group leap into action against the Skrull forces. We watch as Kate's group manages to save the lives of many innocent civilians while also eliminating many Skrulls. Alongside Kate and her team, we see various other people aiding in the effort to stop the Skrulls, including the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. led by Interim Director Johnson and Agent Starr, White Vision, Abigail Brand and the Agents of S.W.O.R.D., and some unlikely allies in Daredevil, played by Elodie Young, Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, played by McKenyu, Colleen Wing, played by Jessica Henwick, and Ava Ayala, aka White Tiger, played by Allegra Acosta. Meanwhile, we watch Riri attempt to deactivate the homing beacon while Patriot and AC stop Skrulls who are scaling the building from disrupting her work. As AC comments about how creepy the Skrulls look, Riri comments that the device is extremely complicated, and even she might not be able to deactivate the device. Patriot asks her what they should do, prompting Riri to tell the group that she might have someone who can deactivate the machine, but she'll need to fly to get him, which would take about 15 minutes round trip. Patriot tells Riri to get a move on as he and AC will handle the Skrulls while she is gone, prompting Riri to hop into her Ironheart suit and blast away. Back on the ground, he watches Exterminatrix and Knurr confront Kate's group, resulting in Kate engaging in hand-to-hand combat against Exterminatrix while Wiccan and Speed take on Knurr. In space, he watches Trell joins the 20th group of Skrulls that begin their descent towards Earth as hulkling and Ronan continue to struggle against Srav on Hala. Frustrated, Ronan tells hulkling that they can't continue to fight like this, something hulkling agrees with, saying that if they are going to finish this fight, they are going to have to do so by truly working together. Srav laughs at the duo, saying that their little chat will do nothing more than give him time to recover, and reminds Ronan that the suffering will end if he simply hands over the negabands. Ronan and hulkling look at one another before rushing Srav together, with Ronan sweeping his legs, causing him to slip and allowing hulkling to land a massive blow that breaks his jaw and knocks him out. Ronan and hulkling look at one another and nod at their accomplishment. Hulkling apologizes to Ronan for the Skrulls once again attempting to start a conflict with the Kree, but says that if their temporary partnership showed him anything, it was that the Kree and Skrulls are stronger when they work together. We then watch Hulkling quickly dash towards Srav's ship and use it to begin his descent towards Earth as Ronan quietly reflects on Hulkling's comment. On Earth, we watch as Ironheart arrives back at the Central Park Tower with Xavier King, who quickly begins attempting to shut down the homing beacon. On the streets of New York, we watch as Kate bests the Exterminatrix in hand-to-hand combat while Wiccan and Speed combine their strength to defeat Knurr. While things begin to look up for the young heroes, the atmosphere quickly changes as Trell arrives on Earth. We watch as the Skrulls stop their attack to all cheer for the arrival of Trell, which catches the attention of Kate's group. We then watch as Cassie becomes giant and smashes Trell, but as she lifts up her fist, we see that Trell has not sustained any damage. This continues as a punch is thrown by Miss Marvel, the hits levied by Speed, the magic blast shot by Wiccan, and the arrows launched by Kate do nothing to Trell. Trell laughs, launching a massive energy blast at the group that Wiccan manages to deflect using his magic. Kate asks the group how Trell managed to tank all their attacks, prompting a beaten Knurr to laugh as he lies on the ground, saying that Trell was the Skrull's ultimate backup plan, representing the genius of Lyja. It is then revealed that when the Silver Surfer visited planet 0259S to recruit the Skrulls to fight for Galactus, Lyja negotiated something in exchange for their services. While the Skrulls agreed to fight on the side of Galactus, in exchange, the Skrulls would acquire DNA samples from the Silver Surfer, Airwalker, Firelord, and Annihilus, which were extracted by the High Evolutionary to ensure that the samples were pure. Before Lyja sent Trell and the other Skrull children off, Skrull scientists injected Trell with the Four's DNA, and created the final, yet nearly indestructible Super Skrull in the process. From the DNA, Trell has the power of flight thanks to Firelord's DNA, can manipulate and control energy thanks to Airwalker's DNA, can become intangible thanks to Silver Surfer's DNA, and has super strength thanks to the DNA of Annihilus. Kate realizes that Trell will be able to become intangible anytime they attack head-on, meaning that she will need to formulate a plan of attack to catch him off guard. However, in the chaos of trying to stop Trell, we see the Skrulls beginning to swarm the streets, with the homing beacon bringing more and more down to Earth by the minute. On top of Central Park Tower, we watch as the Skrulls finally have made it to the top of the building and have made it difficult for Ironheart, Patriot, and AC to defend against them. To make matters worse, King reveals that even with his extensive knowledge of computers and AI, he is unable to figure out how to stop the homing beacon. We watch as AC begins to have a panic attack, with her friends being overwhelmed in the battle. We watch as her eyes turns blue and she grabs her head and tells herself to calm down as Skrulls pile on top of her. Patriot yells at AC to get a grip, but AC screams back, telling her friends to grab onto something as she has no idea what is about to happen. Ironheart frees herself while also grabbing King and Patriot and creates an energy shield to protect them both. We then watch as AC's entire body seemingly glows blue, and as she lets out a scream, she punches the air, opening up a star-shaped portal that sucks away all the Skrulls atop the building, along with the homing beacon. AC continues to scream as Ironheart begins to lose her footing and fears that she'll be sucked into the portal as well. But we watch as AC seemingly loses her strength and falls to her knees, closing the portal behind her. Patriot runs over to check on AC, amazed at what he just witnessed, as we cut to see Trell staring at the sky, wondering how the homing beacon managed to be deactivated. When suddenly, he watches a giant figure flies up behind Trell and smashes him in the face. A hit so powerful that it causes him to fly through multiple buildings and lose a tooth. Wiccan stands with his mouth agape as we see the figure revealed to be Hulkling, who tells Trell that attacking Terra is such an antiquated move. Miss Marvel excitedly runs over to Hulkling, introducing him to the group as everyone except Wiccan, who stumbles over his words, introduces themselves. Hulkling thanks the group for managing to hold their own so far, and noting that since the homing beacon has been neutralized, it will have a much easier time thwarting Trell's forces. Kate brings Hulkling up to speed on Trell's power while also communicating with Patriot, thanking him for stopping the homing beacon and telling him to join the group below so they can formulate a plan to end this. On the roof, Patriot tells her that he and his group will be down shortly as we see Riri and Xavier comforting a visually distraught AC. Patriot walks over and asks AC what happened to her, prompting AC to apologize to the group, saying that she has hidden some important information about herself from them, starting out with her name, America Chavez. America explains that she is a Fuertoan who originated on the planet of Baraka, and originated in a universe different from their own. While all Fuertoans have incredible powers and access to an energy known as star power, her powers are considered unique and manifested themselves at the worst possible time. When she and her two mothers, Amelia and Elena, were out on a picnic, she was spooked by a bee, which resulted in her creating a star-shaped portal that swept away her parents. When the other Fuertonas found out about this, they considered America a murderer, causing her to run away in fear at the idea of having killed her parents. This prompted her to open another star-shaped portal that swept her away. And before she could realize what was happening, she ended up in a different universe, where she was taken in by a man named Mr. Gryphon. And while he was nice at first, he allowed a being known as the Molecule Man to take her away for safekeeping, as some scientists wanted to study her powers because of the legend of the Starling. America breaks down, telling the group that the reason she went by AC is because she didn't feel like she could ever be called America again, not after she killed the people who gave her that name. Xavier thinks out loud, saying that it appears that somehow America's powers can allow her to open up portals to different universes, but that only happens when she experiences intense feelings of fear. Riri snaps at Xavier for not being more understanding of the current situation, but Xavier cuts Riri off, saying that if America survived her trip through the multiverse, then it is likely that both her parents did as well. America looks up as Riri agrees, saying that there is no definitive proof that she actually caused either of her parents to die. Patriot offers America his hand, promising that when everything is said and done, he and the other heroes in the group will help her find her parents, even if it takes them years to do so. America smiles and stands as Patriot tells the group that they need to return to the streets to finish off the enemy, but before he does, he tells America that he likes her name and tells her that she should wear it proudly, like her parents intended. We watch as Patriot, America, and Ironheart rejoin the group while Xavier remains inside the Central Park Tower. The team all look at the large number of Skrulls that stand before them, with Miss Marvel commenting that it looks like after years of dreaming, she sort of feels like she is a member of the Avengers. Kate smiles and readies her bow as she tells Kamala to keep that in mind for after they finish the fight. We then watch as the team leaps into action, fighting alongside each other to decimate the large number of Skrulls. And as a path of defeated Skrulls lie in the street, we suddenly watch as Trell flies back at the group and launches a barrage of energy blasts at them. Trell screams, saying that it won't be so easy to stop him, not when his mother's will lives inside of him. Kate smiles and launches an arrow at him that passes through Trell as he becomes intangible, causing him to laugh and saying that she still hasn't learned her lesson. Suddenly, we watch as the arrow, which struck a parked taxi behind Trell, lets off 2 flashbangs, temporarily blinding Trell, before releasing a large cloud of white smoke that obscures his view. Unable to see, we watch as the heroes all land massive blows on Trell, as the smoke obscures his view enough to prevent him from becoming intangible to avoid their attacks. After each hero lands a solid blow on Trell, we watch as he falls to his knees with blood dripping from his mouth. The smoke clears as we see Hulkling pick up Trell by the neck, asking him to surrender. Trell scoffs at the proposition, telling Hulkling that the two of them are very much alike, as they both feel an immense duty to fulfill their mother's wishes. Hulkling tells Trell that he can go down a different path and show the world that Skrulls are powerful enough to overlook their social, political, and idealistic differences to come together as one people. Trell disagrees with this idea, saying that those weak ideals are the exact reason Trell must complete his mission. We watch as Trell punches Hulkling with his super strength, able to force Hulkling to loosen his grip. But as Trell drops to the ground, watch as an arrow flies through his heart as he turns to see Kate Bishop holding Hawkeye's bow proudly and telling Trell that his archaic ideals end today. As Trell falls to the ground, we watch as various troop members fall to their knees and beg Hulkling for forgiveness. Hulkling tells the Skrulls to report back to their ships as he has an idea for how they can pay for their transgressions. As the Skrulls march back towards their ships, Kate apologizes to Hulkling for killing Trell, saying that she had no other choice and had to make the call. Hulkling tells her that she made the right decision. As painful as it might be, the ideals passed down by Colert and Elijah needed to die today. As Hulkling contemplates something, we watch as citizens of New York cheer for the group of heroes and shout their praises for protecting them. We cut to 3 days later on Hala, as we see the Skrulls who invaded Earth as members of Troops 1, 2, and 3 all working to rebuild Hala as Hulkling and Ronan hold a public event. At the event, we watch as Ronan and Hulkling shake hands, signifying the unity of the Skrulls and the Kree, and officially ending the Kree-Skrull War through a peace treaty. In the crowd, we see Dazan sitting with Kamala, Brand, Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, played by Natalie Dormer, and Monica Rambeau, aka Photon, played by Tiana Paris, who stand and applaud the end of the conflict. Carol turns to Kamala and tells her that she heard about what happened on Earth, and that for all the problems the planet has dealt with over the last couple years, this might be a great sign of things to come. As Kamala smiles, Hulkling abruptly tells the audience that he and Kamala must return to Earth for something important, as they watch her do a run towards a spacecraft and take back off towards Earth. The following day, we cut inside the S.H.I.E.L.D. building in New York as new S.H.I.E.L.D. director Ava Starr passes around holographic cards to the group of heroes, including Hulkling and Kamala, who successfully made it back from Hala. Starr managed to secure the directorship after the promotion was rejected by Johnson, who chose to serve as a liaison to Atalan instead of being director. Starr announces to the group that the damaged buildings have begun restoration, and thanks to the group's efforts, casualties were relatively minor. Starr tells the group that the holographic cards are communication devices, and that if one member of the group needs to chat or needs help, they can use the cards to do so. Wiccan asks if this is really necessary, with Starr laughing and saying that he might not believe how difficult sharing information might be, referencing a certain other team of heroes who always seem to be out of the loop. Before dismissing the group, Starr reminds him that S.H.I.E.L.D. has repurposed their building to now serve as a home base for the group, so if they ever need to meet up with one another, they can consider this building their home base. As we watch the various group members leave, we see Riri confront Xavier, who has been hired by S.H.I.E.L.D. as a lead weapons and technology developer, and has also taken over 2 other projects as well, to restore White Vision's personality and emotions through the use of AI, and attempting to find a way to locate America's parents. Final shot of the project shows Kate and Kamala exiting the building, with Kamala asking Kate what their group's name should be, prompting Kate to smile and point up at the entrance of the building. While this building once operated for the benefit of S.H.I.E.L.D., it now serves as home to the group of heroes who saved Earth, a group aptly named the Young Avengers. In the first post-credit scene, we cut inside Universe 801963, the universe abandoned by the Fantastic Four, which allowed Galactus to successfully devour the Earth, before getting completely annihilated by the Living Tribunal. Deep in space, we cut to the severed head of Galactus, floating before the group of individuals known as the Living Tribunal. The Collector, played by Benicio del Toro. The Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum. Zuma the Watcher, played by Jeffrey Wright. Mistress Love, played by Hannah Waddingham. Master Hate, played by Robert Patrick. And their leader, Master Order, played by Sir Patrick Stewart. State your business here, Terran. I know you are not of this universe, so tell me, what business do you have meddling in my affairs? We suddenly see a man standing on the severed head of Galactus typing calculation into a tablet. The living tribunal. I'm a mere speck in the midst of a mosaic when I fathom the power before me. Yet I hold the one thing you desire, absolute power. Oh, please. I think we have given this flea enough time. I agree. I say we just erase his very being from existence. You can try, but unfortunately my power extends beyond this failed universe. It is teetering on the brink of extinction. So to test out this power, I intend to end things myself. A pathetic and baseless threat. Yeah, who exactly do you think you are? We run this universe. You should be bowing to us. I thank you for allowing me to hear you stroke your egos, especially because of what is about to happen next. The man hits a button on the tablet, opening up a portal as we see a man enter the universe. He laughs like he is having the time of his life. In the blink of an eye, the man destroys every member of the living tribunal. The beings thought to have been the most powerful in the universe, all wiped out in the blink of an eye. Oh, that was so fun! Gee, I can't wait to do it again! We have wiped out the false kings from power. Your power is truly amazing. Continue to stay with me, and as your right-hand man, we will destroy these worthless universes and form one single, perfect universe made in your image and through your power. The two men stand and watch as the universe sits in silence. With no stability, Universe 801963 will be completely destroyed in a matter of hours. The man sitting atop Galactus shouts, "Beware all who attempt to thwart our sacred mission. The power of the Beyonder is limitless." The two men are then revealed. Reed Richards of Universe 1610, otherwise known as the Maker, played by Adam Driver, and the last member of an ancient species, only known as a Beyonder, played by Bill Skarsgård. In the second post-credit scene, we cut a few hours after the Battle of New York as we see Kate, Wiccan, Speed, Cassie, Patriot, America, Riri, and Xavier sitting inside a restaurant eating shawarma. The meal is cut off as we watch Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, played by Dallas Dupree Young, sit inside the restaurant and begin praising the group for their efforts. Kate rolls her eyes and tells Miles to be quiet for a few minutes as her head is still hurting from the battle. Miles sighs and says that it would have been nice to have been considered for the group, something Kate tells him not to worry about, as they'll be in touch with him if his services are needed in the future. And that does it for the Young Avengers and Phase 7 of Rebooted MCU. I hope you all enjoyed. Yes, the Beyonder, Maker Reed, the Kangs, and Molecule Man are the big bads of Saga 3. So, all of our heroes are going to have a lot to deal with in the future. How are they going to deal with it? Well, let's wait and see what happens in Phase 8. Which, as you might know, Phase 8 will be the start of the 2 project per episode style. There's going to be a lot less detail in the videos, but I'm still going to do my best to provide you all with the full stories. Some projects might be big enough to warrant their own videos. I don't foresee that happening until Phase 9, but if that does happen, I will update you all via community post. So look forward to Phase 8, look forward to more Dragon Ball analysis, and most importantly, thank you all for continuing to support Rebooted MCU, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you all again very soon.